A lot of people have kind of the same goal where they're like, I want to be famous or I want to be on TV. Is that kind of the similar mindset people go into it?
There's some exceptional people, they really know that they want to do acting. I want to be on the screen. I want to be in Hollywood. And it's exceptional to see them work really hard. Like Margot Robbie is a very interesting case for that because she worked so hard to get to where she is because she knew exactly what she wanted to do. She had a plan, her end goal, right? Everyone is exceptional in their own way. I love reading. And what I love about film and theatre is the characters and the story and just the way that everyone comes together because that is what makes great cinema, great storytelling. And I only figured that out when I did all the acting training, when I went out and put myself out there and did all the work. There wasn't enough diverse stories or storytellers that were being represented in Australia. What I realized growing up and watching beautiful actresses and actors that are people of color, I saw myself in them, and it's important representation. Representation is very important. They are giants in the industry and I stood on their shoulders, and I want to become a giant myself so other people can stand on my shoulders.
Hello and welcome back to the Midweek Motivation Podcast. Today I am in Sydney and I am joined here by Cynthia Ning. Thank you so much for being on the podcast, Cynthia.
Thanks for having me today, Cameron.
Awesome. Well, I mean, you're a mother, you're a writer, you're an actor. I mean, tell me more about yourself.
Well, I'm actually currently 7.5 months pregnant with my second child. And before I became a mum, I studied a Bachelor of Communications at Griffith University at Open Universities Australia. To be honest, I studied on campus from USyd to Western University, Sydney, and I just found that I needed to work and get experience, like life experience, to kind of figure out what I wanted to do in life because I wasn't that kind of person that knew exactly who I wanted to be, had many interests, but didn't really have direction. So I tried doing, calligraphy. I tried doing like a bit of dance, movement, and it wasn't really sitting right with me. But what I remember was that in primary school, I really loved drama classes. And so I did the traditional route of, studying a proper degree, got my bachelor's communications. And then I thought, this isn't really fulfilling for me. I want to actually give myself a chance to do acting. So I studied at the Hub Studio back in 2019 as part of the 2019 Sydney Ensemble. And then after I graduated, I moved on to NIDA, and that's when I got pregnant with my first child. And I completed that. It was really lovely. And I made a lot of great friends from there. Did a bit of improv acting at the Sydney Improv Theatre School. So it was a really interesting journey from there. And I've done a bit of theatre acting and commercial acting since.
Wow. Okay. So you got a good diverse range of acting skills. But what is it like when you're first starting? Is it something that kind of came naturally to you, or do you have to, constantly upskill to figure out, how you can improve different areas of your acting?
That's a very good question because I realized as a child, there's a lot more freedom of expression. I didn't really care about what other people thought of me, especially at a young age, because that's the age where I think you're more brave to try new things. And if you mess up, everyone laughs. It's a silly thing. But as I got older, I got a lot more self-conscious and I became very introverted. So jumping back into acting as an adult was terrifying for me. I went into a space where there were other adults and I just thought, what am I doing here? Imposter syndrome. I should have done this when I was younger, rah, rah, rah. And I thought that I wanted to be an actor, right? So whilst that was still true, what I figured was that once I opened up and allowed myself to put my whole being and trust into the teachers and to the students to express myself and to do the exercises, it was very freeing. It was a slow process, but I found myself being able to give myself more and take more in and kind of share that energy with other people as an actor because, in acting, sometimes people are pretending to be someone else, but it's so much more than that. It's a lot of understanding how you move in your own body, who you are as a person before taking on the task of, okay, this is a character I'm going to take. I'm going to take care of this character, but I got to take care of me first. And that's the first step for anyone that's looking to do acting, is to trust the process, which is something that you hear very often, but have fun with it, just have fun because no one's here to judge. Everyone's here to do the same thing. And once you realize that, it becomes a lot more easier.
Yeah, of course. That's really cool. Because I've never really had an opportunity to, talk to someone about acting before. What is it like to get started? So let's say, okay, I want to start acting. I guess you could go to maybe the acting school, but is that where everyone goes first, or do they go kind of straight into just finding somewhere where they have an open position where you have to, act something?
Oh, there's so many different ways to get into acting. Like, and a lot of people have different stories. From my experience, I did go to acting school because I needed to build my craft. There were still things I didn't understand. There's a difference between theatre acting, projecting your voice, for example, and then doing screen acting, where it's a very tight, small box and small frame. So every movement is very specific, and too many big actions just throw people out of frame, essentially. And once I signed up for acting courses, I actually tried to find an agent, which I did. And that gives you an opportunity to be represented by someone that's reputable, in Sydney, to find jobs that are suitable for your look or your experience. But there's also people that just do open calls and they just have that look, that raw talent, and, they grow from there. So there's a lot of different ways to go about it, but do your research, and figure out what you're more comfortable with. Do you want to be a theatre performer? Or do you want to do screen work, film, television, commercial? There's so much, but definitely try everything. And then you'll figure out, okay, this is what I want to do.
Yeah. Do you have a preference?
I actually prefer writing. I actually prefer being behind the screen. So I thought for the longest time I wanted to be in front of the screen, theatre, film. I'm like, I want to be an actress when I grow up. And that's what I told myself when I was about 8 years old. But at the same vein, I love reading. And what I love about film and theatre is the characters and the story and just the way that everyone comes together, because for me, that is what makes great cinema, great storytelling. And I only figured that out when I did all the acting training, when I went out and put myself out there and did all the work. So now I'm really happy with writing my own stories and hopefully bringing them to life on screen.
Yeah, it's amazing. A lot of the behind the scenes work doesn't get enough attention, I would say.
Yeah.
When people go into acting, do a lot of people have kind of the same, initial goal where they're like, I want to be kind of famous, or I want to be on TV? Is that kind of the similar, mindset people go into it?
I think there's a bit of stigma where when you hear someone say that they're an actor, and then some people automatically assume you want to be in Hollywood. And whilst that is true for some people, it's not necessarily true for everyone. And so people who only want to do theatre acting, they dive into it and they just do it, They go into small theatre productions and they thrive in that. And sometimes they find themselves becoming a director or a producer for theatre, and that's what they stick with because they found their passion. And some people, they go into screen work. They become an extras, for example, in a television series like Home and Away, Neighbours. They have a lot of extras actors that they pick from, acting schools. And some people find that I'm chill with just doing commercial work and extras acting, but I want to do something else in my life. Acting isn't really what I want to do anymore, and that's okay. But then there's some exceptional people, and I say exceptional, where they really know that they want to do acting. I want to be on the screen. I want to be in Hollywood. And it's exceptional to see them work really hard. Like Margot Robbie is a very, interesting case for that, because she worked so hard to get to where she is, because she knew exactly what she wanted to do. She had a plan, more of an idea, her end goal, right? But that's a very specific case. And, everyone is exceptional in their own way. It's just, for me, when people say they want to be a Hollywood actor, to see someone actually become it is very rare, but also oh, this was meant for you. You've done this. You've done the hard work. And it's really lovely to see them flourish in that way.
Yeah, well, thanks for sharing, that insight, because, I think people who are not actors, at least I speak for myself anyway, I have, no other, a way of thinking of, what that looks like. I guess let's say you've got an agent now, a lot of the movies or TV shows, especially sitcoms, it'll be the agent's really bad, and that's why the actor's always struggling with work. To what degree do you think there's a lot of good agents versus not so good agents where you have to put more time in to find work? Is it easy? Once you finish, say a project, are you kind of got something lined up for the in a foreseeable future?
So do your research on the agents that you want to represent you. So again, all agents don't cover all aspects of acting. So there's voice acting, there's theatre work, there's screen acting, there's commercial work, and comedy as well. They're all very different veins of acting. And I think it's very important to give it a try, talk to the agent that you want to go into, interview them when they're asking you questions, have a feel. Do you feel like you fit with the vibe? And is that something that you want to be a part of? And is that something you want to try? I think that's the problem, is sometimes you don't know until you actually do it. And it's okay to change agencies if you don't feel like it's the right fit for you. I can't really speak for all the agencies out there. There's pros and cons with everything. It's everyone's experience. But I say that regardless of if you're with an agent or you're not with an agent, create your own work, because you've had all this, experience from acting, from school, or from practical work. Put it into practice. Keep trying to be better than you were before. And when you have your own portfolio of work, you know that you did it yourself. You didn't rely on anyone else. And it builds your skill set up, like for marketing, presenting yourself, building confidence. And I think that's the most important thing.
Yeah, of course. And then what was decision making to go more into writing? Was it something you were kind of doing on the side beforehand, in maybe a different aspect of writing? Or you just kind of realized that was like where your passion is now?
Thank you for that question. It was definitely something that I realized slowly over time, but I also felt like there wasn't enough diverse stories or storytellers that were being represented in Australia. And, anyone can write. Anyone can tell their story. It's just trying to get it out there in a broader scope so people can hear it. And I think that for myself, I believe that I can do it and I want to do it. And there's like this burning urge to kind of write fun, diverse, interesting stories that are from my personal experience and my background. Because what I realized growing up and watching beautiful actresses and actors that are people of color, I saw myself in them. And it's important, representation. Representation is very important. And I felt like I'm very lucky to be standing on some amazing teachers and mentors, and they're giants in the industry, and I stood on their shoulders, and I want to become a giant myself so other people can stand on my shoulders. It's definitely what I feel my heart is in more, and I feel joy in writing stories, and to share them is something that I'm hoping to do one day soon.
Awesome. Yeah, I love the vision that you have. So what would be, I guess, the step? Like, let's say you have a piece of work that you're really proud of. How do you get that out into the world?
I work with an editor. And I work with people that I trust their values and opinions. It's one thing to write something, but it's another thing to present it to someone and say, hey, does this look good to you? Does it make sense to you? What do you think? And having that feedback is very critical, because sometimes what I realize for myself is that even though I'm writing something that makes sense to me, how does that translate to other people? How do people interpret it? If it's something that they don't understand completely, or it's interpreted not the way I intend it to, I need to kind of go back to the drawing board and think about how to use the language to make sure it's reasonable and understandable and digestible for other people. And it's important for me to get the message across clearly, so there's no ambiguity with it. And what I can say is just to keep writing, keep sharing, keep creating your own work. That's why I have my podcast series, finding my own style, reading, always read, just keep going at it and you'll find it eventually. You'll hit gold eventually. I'm still working my way through it, but I've had so much positive feedback and a lot of wonderful people that support me and love me. So that's all I can say, really.
Amazing, yeah. Hey, just a quick announcement before we return to the podcast. If you're someone who's been feeling a bit stuck lately, maybe you're switching careers, rebuilding your routine, or just trying to get your life together, I get it. That's exactly why I write the Midweek Motivation newsletter, where every week I share real, honest thoughts on training, mindset, and the messy process of figuring life out. Especially for guys like us, we're in our 20s and 30s, just trying to get ahead in our careers, fitness, and performance. It's short and it's personal, and it might just give you the push you need during the middle of the week when it's least motivating. You can subscribe using the link in the show notes below, or go to substack.com and search up Midweek Motivation. All right, let's get back to the podcast. And how did you balance your creative work during your first pregnancy and now? You find we have with this periods you take time off? How are you balancing that with other work? Tell me more about that.
So I had my first child during the lockdown, and I was working full time at that point. And because we were in lockdown, we couldn't really go anywhere. So I just decided, let's just start writing to give me some sense of like freedom, but also gets me kind of mentally active. And going for walks was all I can do at that time, but it really allowed me to kind of sit with myself. And sometimes the most terrifying thing is to be alone with your own thoughts. And during that time, I had to learn to be my own best friend. So that was what got me through that. Fast forward to today, I learned how to use my calendar very well, and I found a job that balances my work life and creative outlets very well. So what I do is I make sure that I have set times where I block out my own time. So just time out, just chill, I just veg out so I can have time to relax, meditate. And then I also have periods where I block out to do creative work, 1 to 2 hours, a couple of times a week. It's not that stringent, so I can allow myself to have that flexibility. But I always keep Sundays free for family day where I'm present with my family, but also with myself, because I also love myself. I need to love myself.
Yes. Yeah, cool. And did you find when you started time blocking, was that like a big shift in you sticking to that? Or did you find, because I find for me sometimes, especially when it's a task, maybe it's not say a high priority. So this could be creating content, for example. I could time block it, but I still don't follow through with it. Or something comes up and I'm like, I could put that in there, like, trying to fit an extra client, for example. Would you say you have a similar experience, or have you made it like, I guess, this is my time, whether I do creative work or not, this is a time for me?
That's a really good question. I'm a very visual person. So when I see my calendar, I can see that there's a set schedule and I can choose to stick with it as best as I can. But, life happens. And sometimes you don't have that motivation to go with your creative flow. Like I have that a lot too, like writer's block. And also I feel very tired, being drained from my day job. But I keep it flexible, and I have we have our phones that can do basically everything now. So if I have some sort of idea or a chapter book idea, I just put it down on my phone, mark it, save it for later. So then when I do have time to sit down in my blocked periods, I pull that out. I'm like, oh, thank goodness I wrote this. It was such a good idea. And I just pop it into my work portfolio. I think it's important to not be too frustrated with yourself. When you have an idea, utilize what you have. And your phone is a very powerful tool. I mean, people built careers out of it. So just keep that in mind, have some flexibility, and be patient with yourself.
And do you have any habits or activities or maybe routines, for example, throughout your day that helps you, continue with your energy and your creative flow?
Always have a water bottle with you. I find that is so important to keep hydrated, because if you're dehydrated, and I found this, I felt a bit faint. I didn't really want to talk because my voice was dry, and I didn't realize how important it was to have my own toolkit with me. I also have a pen and paper with me at all times. So if my phone dies or I can't use a phone during a session, at least I can write some stuff down with a physical pen and paper. It also helps my skills with writing again, because it's an actual skill. I realized that with the rise of technology, we don't really need to use our handwriting skills as much, but I do love it. And I got my skills of cursive writing from my father, so I want to keep that alive. And taking breaks when you can. It's very well and good to zone in on an activity, but if you don't move around, and I find that I get cramps and I feel really cranky at other people, so it's important to know and listen to your body. Tap into yourself, and once you know what you need from sessions or taking breaks when you need to, then it gives you the capacity to do the best you can and to give more back to other people.
Yeah, definitely. I do like your water bottle there. I think it's important that, I think the small bottles are great for just, convenience when, trying to pack it in your bag. But yeah, a bigger bottle is way better for keeping up the hydration habit and, trying to minimize distractions as well from writing. I think, writing your phone, sometimes you see a notification comes up, or you just get maybe a habit of going to Instagram very quickly. Yeah, I think the notepad thing, something I don't actually do, might be something I continue doing down the line.
I encourage everyone to do it. It's fabulous.
Yeah. And are you still working full time?
I'm actually working part-time 4 days a week, and then I study 1 day a week at TAFE. So it is a full-time schedule. But I really enjoy what I do, like studying at TAFE at Screen and Media. I find that I'm meeting new people. I'm coming out of my shell because I'm an introverted person naturally. But I love studying. I love understanding what makes this certain thing tick. What can I do to present myself better to other people? Yeah. How can I use my voice and my skills to create a new piece of work that I've never tried before, like podcasting? And while I work, part-time 4 days a week, I do enjoy what I do. I look at interesting projects from all over the world, working in the university sector. And because everything is so close by, it makes it easier for me to be able to do the things that I want because I worked really hard to get to where I am now. And my son's daycare, is not too far away. So I'm always nearby if he needs me. And so I made it work. Everyone, no matter what your situation, I say, you know how to make it work. Just trust your gut instinct and utilize your calendar as much as possible.
Yeah, awesome. And how did you get started in podcasting? Because that's a very different skill set from, I guess, your other creative work.
Yeah, well, a lot of people had recommended that I try different modes of presenting my work. So blog posts on a website, I've done that. I've done theatre reviews as well, which I thoroughly enjoy and highly recommend anyone, trying it out for themselves if they want to delve into writing just casually. And of course, I've done script writing, doing acting, but podcasting was something super unfamiliar because I'm not very good with technology, but that's why I decided to find the TAFE course and see if I could do it. And luckily during that time, it was a fee-free TAFE course. And I was like, you know what? I've got nothing to lose. Let's just give it a go. And I fell in love with it. I had great teachers, great mentors, and great friends. And this is why I'm still doing it today is because it's a great joy. I got over my fear of listening to my own voice. That was something I really disliked.
Yep.
But also using equipment that I'm not very familiar with. But understanding that if I can learn new aspects of technology or something different, it doesn't necessarily mean I'm not going to enjoy it. I might enjoy it. And I did.
Yep. Did you have the similar fear when you're acting, like listening to the sound of your own voice, or is it only when you're being you?
I find myself very cringy when I listen back.
All right, same with me.
And I'm just like, oh, do I really sound like that? Oh my gosh, I do sound like a mum. And then it's just kind of understanding my own quirks, right? And people would say, oh my gosh, you're such a mum. And I'm like, I don't really get that. But then until you listen back and hear yourself talk and see yourself from another person's perspective, you're like, I see why you're saying that. But it's not a bad thing. It's just another perspective. And I think it's just another part of understanding who I am and loving that part of myself and, being comfortable around myself. I think that's something that I lost and maybe some other people lose when they're a child, that confidence and love. Building that back up again, doing my work is really rewarding, but also I feel so blessed to have that perspective.
Yeah. And how's health and fitness important to you?
Gosh, I wasn't a super active person in my high school years as a teenager. I did enjoy like the casual sports classes that we had every week during primary school in Australia. I'm sure you'd remember that. But I wasn't super into sports. I didn't really understand why fitness was so important. I do like my PE. That was a mandatory subject up until year 10. And I did enjoy like the social aspect of sport. But it wasn't until I became an adult, got a grown-up job, and then I realized, I'm sitting down for most of the day. I'm not like moving about as I used to. And then I got too comfortable not moving. And then I got a lot of pains in my back and I didn't realize, is this part of getting older? Is this normal? And it wasn't until I got pregnant and then fell into postnatal depression. The way that I got out of that was to seek help professionally, to find counseling, to understand and unpack my mental stresses, but also going for a walk gave me some kind of relief as well. And I realized, moving myself physically, being physically active is really something important, and it helped me get out of that slowly. And going to counseling as well with looking after my mental health, I realized is equally as important. So it's not until I kind of hit rock bottom was when I started to kind of find fitness as a way of helping myself get out of that.
Yeah. And then, so is this like same time period when I kind of first met you at the Activate Gym?
This was my first pregnancy during lockdown. So it was a few years before I met you, but I slowly got into fitness, like understanding like what I enjoy to do. I realized I am not very good at the gym by myself, but I do enjoy like group work classes, like the social aspect of it. I need someone to tell me what to do because I'm very clumsy. I love dancing as well. That's something I really enjoyed. I actually found out I was pregnant when I started doing cheerleading because I just wanted to do that for fun. And then when we had our competition, we came third, by the way. I found out I was like 6 weeks pregnant. So that was fun. Yeah, I just did it.
So 6 weeks, sorry.
Yeah, 6 weeks during that competition. And I was like, But I did cheerleading because I was kind of like, I just want to give it a go. I didn't think about the fitness aspect of it. It was just like, I just want to have fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then it was only until after I had my child and I fell into postnatal depression that I gave it a real serious go. I wanted to make this a thing that I wanted to keep for life, not just a spontaneous, I'll just do this, course, or I'll just do this dance class. It was, no, this is something I need to keep for life. I need to keep building on. And that's when I met you, when I came back into the workforce. I was like, Cameron, I really don't know what I'm doing.
Yep.
I want to develop like a routine that works for me, and you really helped me, and I'm still with the gym today.
Oh, fantastic! Well, I'm glad you were able to take that advice and continue thriving from it. It's a very common I guess feeling that a lot of people have is that I don't know what to do at the gym, or maybe they have some idea on what they can do towards their goal, but it can be overwhelming, especially when it's a busy time. Maybe the equipment is taken. I mean, this is why we have personal trainers. It's like this is what they are good at, but I think. Keep it simple is, I guess, my advice is that don't be so overwhelmed all the time with maybe equipment or the exercise you need to do. Everyone knows roughly like what a squat is or a push-up, for example. That's a good starting point. And but I was really happy to help you out with your journey and with your activities that you mentioned. Like, I think that's really powerful when you can find something where it doesn't feel like working out or fitness, like dance, for example, and cheer. Like you're moving your body in very unique ways, probably more so than what you would be doing just regularly at the gym, which is like really important for longevity and just overall physical and mental health.
Yeah, no, thank you. I think for me, going to the gym, like you mentioned, it's kind of like that self-conscious aspect where I'm not someone that's familiar with the gym, but also like I didn't know how to properly do a squat, for example, or like how to use the dumbbells properly. That's why I sought out, help from a professional, because I'm like, it's so important to ask for help when needed. And you were so giving as well. And it was just nice to talk to someone that wasn't judgmental, understood the process and what I was looking for in my own fitness journey. And I really enjoy speaking to people and having an understanding of how to use equipment, because it gives me confidence in the gym if I ever want to do my own sessions. And also, going to be in the gym, be confident in what I'm doing, know what I'm doing, but also then have the aspect of having fun with other people in a group setting.
Exactly. It makes the journey like more fun, more memorable as well. It's not necessarily a chore all the time.
Definitely.
Awesome. Well, what are some of the challenges or obstacles that you face in any of your creative work or career?
It's trying not to burn myself out. I have this kind of perfectionist mentality where if I don't feel like it's good enough, I'm just going to keep grinding at it until I feel it's perfect to submit. But that takes away time from myself, just like meditation time, or even some time where I should sit down and eat a meal. Like, just eating while you're working is not a very good habit. So, I'm my own worst critic, but I'm also my best cheerleader. So I have to keep going at it, keep working on myself. I'm a work in progress. I'm not perfect, but now I'm more in tune with myself and my body. I find my own physical cues. When I listen in and I take a moment, I think that's very important to take a moment, listen to myself, ignore the surroundings, and then breathe in and make a decision from there. I need to slow down. I think that's also very hard when you're a parent. But it's definitely a learning curve, and just keep going at it, keep practicing and advocating for myself and asking for help. And that's the advice that I give to other people as well. And I should also take my own good advice.
I might take some of that advice too, because it's important to recognize the signs and symptoms especially when you've been in burnout before. And I know I have. But it's another thing of taking action. Like, okay, maybe I'm a bit more tired. Maybe I am like eating when I'm not actually resting. And you could finish that project tonight or tomorrow, but I guess down the line, if you were to keep at it, it's not great for sustainability. And especially when you're a mother as well, when you have other people who depend on you.
Have patience and have grace, because when I realize and I give myself that, I can give that to others, and I feel happier and more genuine as a person to reach the person I want to become in the future.
Amazing. Well, we can start to wrap up this podcast, but Cynthia, where can people find you?
Oh, yes. You can find me on my website, cynthianing.wordpress. And then you can also find Confessions with Cynthia on Instagram and Spotify. Check it out. I've got Cameron on as a guest as well, and he's fabulous. So listen in, do what you can, and thanks for listening.
Yeah. Fantastic. And apart from your next son being born coming up soon, do you have anything else that's, I guess, new or exciting for the future of Cynthia?
I'm still working on my picture books and my young adult fiction books. So hopefully stay tuned. I'll have any updates on my socials, and thank you for tuning in.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much to the audience for listening. If you really like this episode, go ahead and give us a rating of 5 stars on Spotify or a like on YouTube. It all helps this channel. Thanks again, Cynthia, for joining on the podcast, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Thank you so much, Cameron.